I'm in the ancient city of Hegra in modern-day Saudi Arabia. It's a mysterious place, surrounded by magnificent rock-cut tombs, built 2,000 years ago by a people who had far-reaching impact on world culture. But this site is only now being fully explored.
So there's at least 90% of the site still waiting to be archaeologically researched. But this is one of the main areas that the archaeologists are working on right now. I can't quite believe that I'm being allowed here because I can see pottery everywhere.
This UNESCO World Heritage Site is the front line of research into an enigmatic and once neglected civilization. The people who built this place were the Nabataeans, major players in the ancient world whose power and influence spanned empires. But then, it seems, they vanish from the history books. I'm here searching for clues that could tell us what happened to them. Something that might explain why such an illustrious people aren't better known.
There's something here that is truly remarkable. It's an inscription that's only recently been discovered, and it's very delicate, so it's been protected here. Okay, so I am right in the middle of the Arabian Peninsula, but this isn't written in a Nabataean language with a Nabataean script. What you're looking at is Latin, which is the language of the ancient Romans. And you can just about make up here the beginning of the word centurion. So this would have been left here by Roman soldiers. So this must be evidence that can teach us more about the fate of the Nabataean civilization.
These geniuses of history, who called themselves the Nabatu, are the key to a lost world. Okay, so I've already discovered how the Nabataeans built a fabulously wealthy culture and civilization. In my journey so far, I've explored their breathtaking tombs, travelled in their footsteps along the incense roads of the Arabian Peninsula, adventured on boats and under the waves of the Red Sea, as far as an ancient Roman megaport in the Bay of Naples. Next, my investigation has brought me to modern-day Jordan. On this, the final leg of my Nabataean odyssey, I'm going to find out if their staggering success, which brought them serious wealth, perhaps also sowed the seeds of their civilization's downfall. My investigative journey started here in what's now Saudi Arabia, in the city of Hegra with its stunning tombs. Hegra was a southern outpost of Nabataean territories, a key staging post in their trading empire. Their precious cargo included an ancient petrochemical, bitumen, and frankincense. The ultimate destination of that incense were the major Mediterranean markets of the Greek, the Egyptian, and the Roman worlds. And the profits from that vast trade largely ended up in the capital of the Nabataean kingdom, the place that they called Rakhmu, but that we now know by its Greek name, Petra. And like the Nabataeans, I'm gonna follow the money and head right here. "2,000 years ago, Petra was the central hub for trade, not just of incense, but also spices from southern Asia, pearls from India, and silk from China. Petra was the economic jewel of the kingdom and the administrative, cultural, and religious heart of Nabataean territory, which covered lands in the Arabian Peninsula, modern-day Egypt, and Syria, even controlling on more than one occasion the iconic city of Damascus. I've got the chance to see the land from a whole new angle, which I hope will help me to show you why Petra holds such a unique place in history. Thank you, Shukran. I mean, it's, you know, you kind of read about the scale of the Nabataean project, but it's only when you come up here you really understand how massive it was. The sheer vastness of the city is revealed, stretching over 50 square miles. With an estimated population of 30,000, a glorious jumble of tombs, temples and markets. A grand theatre and opulent villas sitting beside a bustling urban heart. So those, see the mountaintops up here? So those have got shrines and sanctuaries and temples on. It just makes you respect them, the fact that they met this incredibly dramatic landscape face on and kind of used it to their own ends. Because, I mean, just look how harsh this landscape looks, but they're using every bit of it to create a culture and a civilization. Petra was sustained by a sprawling 35-mile-long network of hidden underground pipes, transporting and filtering rain and spring water to thousands of hidden cisterns and basins buried in the city rock. Ancient sources and archaeological remains evidence the farming of almonds, figs, grapes, dates, olives. And the Nabataeans created a series of closely guarded enclaves in the high-sided valleys of the city. So that one particular, that's called Little Petra. And again, it was very easy to protect and defend, and that was where the kind of centre of trading was. It really feels like the people of Petra used every geographical feature to their best advantage, each hurdle and obstacle harnessed to turn the city into a fortress. So this down here, and this is natural kind of canyon or gully, that was one of the main entry points to the city. And you can see it just winds its way through the rocks. So it was incredibly well defended. And actually where I'm going to head to next. There, I'll discover how the Nabataeans built one of history's greatest wonders, a fortified vision of paradise. It's time to explore Petra, starting in an extraordinary entrance to the city. This is the Seek. The word literally means a shaft or a gorge, and it runs for a kilometre. It's over half a mile into the centre of the city itself. And it's got its own power. It's kind of got its own message, don't you think? It's saying that this is somewhere that is really special, that's worth protecting. The twisting canyon is a seemingly never-ending path through towering rocks, both hiding and guarding one way into the capital of the Nabataeans' empire. This is the place that we now call the Treasury, but in fact, it is a giant rock-cut tomb. Somewhere that protected not just wealth, but the dead. It's fitting that this tomb was constructed for one of the kingdom's greatest ruling dynasties.
So this is almost certainly made for our old friend, King Aretas IV, who ruled at the time that Hegra was really flourishing. And this was a key moment in world history in a time when Petra was really buzzing.
Aretas and his powerful wife, Huldu, took the throne in the year 9 BCE. A 5-decade-long rule saw Petra claim geopolitical centre stage. Aretas and Huldu were determined to build alliances with their neighbours, but occasionally had to navigate diplomatic scandal.
Aretas IV's daughter married Herod Antipas, the king of Judea. But Herod put aside the girl and took another wife, sparking one of the most famous stories of the ancient world. John the Baptist, no less, protested against this disrespectful divorce and ended up being beheaded. And King Aretas was so offended, he took his Nabataean army and invaded Judea's kingdom. When you come here, you start to really understand how intertwined the Nabataeans are in those other histories that we might be a bit more familiar with.
Vast riches from trade meant Petra's influence was more than just political.
Because Petra was the capital of the wealthy Nabataean kingdom, the quality of some of the artworks here are just extraordinary. These are just some that have been kept in the storerooms.
Petra's stonemasons and artists created much more than just monumental tombs. Their work includes stone capitals of animals as diverse as dolphins and elephants, Greek-inspired deities, and depictions of everyday people. Ancient authors like Diodorus, Strabo and Pliny tell us Petra was a thriving oasis. Expert archaeologists are still uncovering evidence of this fertile past.
How lovely to meet you.
Hi.
Dr. Sahar is pioneering the use of luminescence dating. Basically, the science of sunlight. It enables her to precisely date the incredible technology and engineering that made Petra the envy of the ancient world.
I'm trying here to collect rocks for luminescence dating, trying to date the time of construction of the terrace walls here.
It's almost like you're sort of doing the history of sunlight somehow, is that right?
Yes, we can determine when it was last exposed to light or when it was last buried.
So, I mean, what's this telling you about the Nabataeans and their lives here?
I think they were the master in the water and hydraulic system engineering. They did not only build the water cisterns and the channels or the terraces here, but they also created gardens, pools, fountains, to make it more like a lavish and luxurious place to stay.
It's almost because they need, for their status and word of mouth, for people to come back and say, oh, have you heard about Petra? You know,
Yeah.
They've got these fish ponds and like ornamental parks and things.
So they literally converted the desert into like a paradise.
And what a beautiful idea. It's that they're kind of almost paradise makers, making this bit of their earth a paradise.
Yes, it is. Even at the moment, Jordan is facing this dryness and lack of water. So it's kind of a knowledge that we can still learn from it.
Greek historian Strabo described springs in abundance, both for domestic purposes and for watering gardens. We've gathered the evidence to recreate an impression of what this gorgeous villa might have looked like, with pleasure gardens featuring shrubs and palms, mini bridges, little lakes, where there's only now sand and rock. The Nabataeans transformed the baking valleys and gorges of Petra into a pearl of antiquity.
Nice to meet you again.
Nice
Bettany.
to see you
Nice to see you.
again.
You are welcome.
Oh,
Before I leave, I really want to catch up with someone.
you look well.
Yeah. Still alive.
Still alive.
You have a cup of tea now.
Yes, lovely, thank you.
Bedouin Taufik was raised on stories about the lush, glory years of Petra's abundant heyday 2,000 years ago.
Here is a place where they squeeze the grapes,
Yeah.
to make the wine.
So they would have made their own wine here, because I know they drank a lot.
Yeah.
But there were vineyards here then too.
Yeah, there's two places, one here and one in Little Petra.
And brilliantly, he's cooking what I know is a culinary survivor from those days of plenty.
Now, one put the bread in the fire.
An ancient bread recipe.
Nabataean bread, yeah.
Taoufik is baking his bread using a traditional recipe with instructions to knead the dough precisely 120 times.
So good. So you just have flour, salt, oil, water.
Water, yeah.
So I think the recipe says sometimes olive oil, sometimes sesame oil from sesame
yeah.
seeds.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, this is exactly the same as you have in this recipe book.
Called the Kitab al-Tabiq, it's a historic collection of Arabian cookery from over 1,000 years ago. The recipe's name, then and now, Nabataean bread, clearly points to origins back in classical times.
So how long does it have to cook for?
From 15 to 20 minutes.
Kneading the bread over 100 times and baking it in hot sand and ash makes it the right texture to transport on long desert journeys.
Oops. A little hot, watch.
Hot?
Yeah.
Oh, it smells good though. Very hot. Very good. Oh, that is so... I'm so happy, Taoufik. I can't tell you. I'm so happy.
You are welcome.
Cheers. Very good with the tea. Cheers.
A little reminder that the Nabataean world is still present in our lives. Another of Petra's landmarks embodies traditions as distinctively Nabataean as Taoufik's delicious bread. The Grand Theatre in the centre of the city.
This was commissioned by King Aretas IV, and it's based on Greek theatres that are first built around 2,500 years ago. But something that makes it specifically Nabataean is that it isn't built of stone or wood. It's carved out of the sheer rock itself.
But there's evidence that something may have taken place here other than theatrical productions. Something that makes it even more Nabataean.
There's a really strong chance that it's somewhere that the Nabataeans could come to chat for kind of political debate, so that they could consult amongst themselves about, town life and what was going on.
One of our Greek writers tells us that even rulers were expected to join in these discussions in Petra's public buildings.
So Strabo says, the Nabataean king is so democratic, sometimes he serves people drinks himself. He has to report back on his leadership in the popular assembly, so here, and sometimes even his personal life is put up for scrutiny. And I can tell you, that doesn't happen anywhere else in the classical world.
I'm building a picture of how the city and culture of Petra became a real beacon of sophistication in antiquity, from the start of their glory years in the 4th century BCE. Unfortunately, it didn't take long for the jewel in the Nabataean crown to attract jealous attention. The first challenge came from an ancient Greek power, giving us our earliest accounts of the Nabataean kingdom by an outsider, a Greek general by the name of Hieronymus of Cardia. By the 4th century BCE, the armies of Alexander the Great had built a powerful and acquisitive empire, stretching from his homeland in Macedonia to the Indian subcontinent. After Alexander's death, one of his successors, a Macedonian leader, Antigonus, decided to expand his territory and marched on a Nabataean stronghold, probably Petra, in 312 BCE.
When the men of Petra were away at the ancient equivalent of a trade fair, the Macedonian Greek army attacked, and there were 4,000 of them with 600 cavalry, so it must have been absolutely petrifying. The women and old men and children of the city had been left safe up on a high rock, but the Macedonians dragged them down and seized them along with 500 talents of silver.
The absent Nabataean warriors heard about the military disaster. They tracked the Macedonian army on their march home, using their superior desert skills.
8,000 warriors mounted on camels fell on the Macedonian army and wreaked a devastating revenge. They slaughtered the men with javelins, and they seized back their women, their children, and their treasure.
After the battles were won, the Nabataeans did something truly unprecedented. Instead of pressing home their advantage, they made their peace with Antigonus. All they wanted was to go back to how things were. As they said to the defeated Macedonian ruler, "Please, we're asking you and your father not to harm us. Withdraw your army. Let's be friends." But in the next centuries, another great military power arose, an empire that wouldn't be put off so easily. In the final part of my journey, I'm going to find out what happened when the Nabataeans faced the might of ancient Rome. I've travelled back to the ancient city of Hegra in modern Saudi Arabia, searching for clues of the fate of the Nabataeans.
There's over 90% of the site still left to excavate, and this is one of the key areas of archaeological interest right now. And it looks as though what it's revealing is just incredible.
Archaeologists have made a recent discovery that I think helps us understand the fate of the independent kingdom of Nabataea. On the southern edge of the city is a giant crag with the ruins of what looks like a mysterious ancient fort.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Look. So there's a lot going on here. The light's picking out this inscription round the rim here. And it's not written in Nabataean, it's written in Latin, the language of the Romans. And I think this is some kind of storage basin, possibly for water, I think probably for food. And it looks like it's the name of the guy who's in charge of all the supplies. And then here, look. Oh, look at this. So, this says leg 3, and there's a CY, it's been just broken off at the end. So I reckon this must be the 3rd Legion Cyrenaica. So they're telling us that they were here on this southern outpost.
The 3rd Cyrenaica was a Roman legion founded by Mark Antony in around 35 BCE, headquartered 700 miles away in Egypt. This inscription must mean that legion came here.
I guess now the Romans are in charge here, so they're literally stamping their mark on the place. Oh, that's amazing. This doesn't happen often. This really doesn't happen often, that you come to a place and suddenly the evidence appears in front of your eyes.
And there are more traces of Roman presence. Around the corner is one of my favourite new discoveries from the Nabataean world.
What I think you've got is the remains of a hypercaust system, and a hypercaust was a kind of mechanism for heating rooms, something that the Romans used in Roman baths. So it could well be, we are thousands of miles from Rome here, but there are home comforts, a little bit of, bath luxury into the middle of the Arabian desert.
The fort at Hegra shows sure signs of Roman occupation of the city and surrounding oasis. My tech team have been building a 3D model of Hegra based on scans of the site and reconstructing the city through history. The team are adding this latest evidence to build up their model, hoping to explain the reasons for the Romans' arrival in ancient Arabia.
I think that the Romans wanted to extend their control east. So what does that mean?
Leila Naimi is one of the world's leading experts on the Nabataeans, and she's directed excavations here. She's helping us decipher the clues.
If you look at the city, can you tell where there's Roman influence or even Roman presence?
Yes, well, we can, because they did not put a big Roman imprint in the city.
No, yeah.
There's no theatre, no amphitheatre.
The Roman infrastructure seems to be limited to military installations.
To protect themselves, they presumably used this big outcrop, which is called the citadel, and to make it high watching post.
Yes.
And from there, they would be able to watch anybody coming from the south.
Wow. So it could have been a tough posting. Yeah.
Yes.
In ancient times, Hegra was supported by a fertile oasis. Walnuts, pomegranates, cotton, coconuts, and even peaches were grown here. But surely the Romans were here for something more. Leila's team have identified an inscription that explains what they were doing in this distant corner of the ancient world.
You've got that incredible inscription mentioning Marcus Aurelius, kind of beautiful, painted in black.
What you're showing me is a Latin inscription, of which there are very few examples in the world, and it's a masterpiece. Is a dedication to Jupiter, Hammon, which is the god of the 3rd Legion Cyrenaica. And possibly there's a small s at the end. It is possible that means stationary. What does that stationary mean? It's a stationarius is a guy who is responsible of controlling people on the routes and saying, everybody passing by, they would say, well, show me your ID or show me your passage permit.
Yeah.
At that time.
That's what a thought that is. So they're not quite border control, but they're sort of customs control.
And so that means that the Romans have completely taken over the trade routes from the Nabataeans.
I imagine that must have been frustrating for the Nabataeans, because this has been their routes, their road. They've been in control of this. Then suddenly you've got someone telling you what to do.
Yes.
And who can
and telling you what to do and what not to do.
Yes.
The invaders took over the city with its abundant water supply, thriving agriculture, and, most importantly, control of the incense roads. Mounting evidence of direct Roman rule is forcing historians to redraw the map of the Roman world.
It's just a reminder that these places that we think of wrongly as at the edges of things, that they're hyper-connected.
You have to even think of even further than that, because if you look at maps of the Roman Empire on the internet, they're wrong, because this whole part of northwest Arabia was part of the Roman kingdom.
This is the southernmost outpost as far as we know.
Outpost,
For the moment.
yes. Permanent outpost, yes.
Yeah, incredible.
I want to find evidence for how and when this Roman takeover happened. Brilliant clues are in these tiny silver coins from the reign of one of Rome's greatest military leaders, an emperor who led the last great expansion of Rome's borders, a campaign of conquest that started in Eastern Europe.
Now, this rather incredible little coin, was minted by the Emperor Trajan to celebrate his triumph over the ancient province of Dacia. Dacia roughly equates to modern-day Romania, and for the Romans it was a territory rich in gold and silver and in people. So on the coin, you've got the Emperor Trajan, as you'd expect, on one side, and then on the reverse, you've got Dacia itself incarnated as somebody who's been completely humiliated and defeated, with their hands tied behind their backs, sitting on a pile of weapons. The Romans often used coins like this as really clever tools of propaganda.
The conquest of Dacia began in the year 101 CE, and then, the following decade, Trajan invaded the Parthian Empire. He also turned his attention south to the Nabataean kingdom, known at the time by its Latin name, Arabia Petraea. His success there was immortalised in another, very different coin.
So here's the Emperor Trajan again, and on the other side you've got Arabia personified as a camel, and that's Rome standing above Arabia. But the figure of Rome is offering the camel what's either a palm leaf, which was a symbol both of victory and of peace, or it's a frankincense branch. I don't know if you agree, but this feels like a very different vibe. There's a different kind of story being told here. This isn't all about subjugation, and the words used are really significant. So we're told that when the Romans took over the province of Arabia, it wasn't captor, captured, it was acquisitor, acquired.
The difference between violent capture of Dacia captor and more gentle connotations of Arabia acquisitor feels hugely significant. There are also no written records of a conquest by military force here, so for centuries historians have believed that the acquisition of Nabataea was indeed a peaceful, more an absorption into the empire.
But just as I was planning my journey here, an extraordinary bit of new evidence appeared. So what you're looking at here is actually satellite imagery, so taken from space.
A team from Oxford University, headed by Michael Fradley, is using the satellites to scour almost 1 million square miles of Arabian desert. What they found may just cast doubt on this cosy story of a peaceful transition.
And they are convinced that these things, these really distinctive shapes, and what's called playing card shapes, that these are actually Roman camps that are used during a hostile takeover. And these are slap bang in the middle of Nabataean territory. So I've got to go and find out what's going on.
The mysterious shapes in the desert, suspected Roman camps, are in an extremely remote area on the border between Saudi Arabia and Jordan. Not an easy place to get to. Bob Bewley is an aerial archaeologist who'd been working in the Middle East for more than 20 years. Together, we're going to fly with 8th Squadron, the Royal Jordanian Air Force, to take a closer look. We had to cross 250 miles of desert to see if those playing card shapes that were first spotted from space really are Roman camps.
Bob, so where are we heading? What direction?
We're heading southeast to the Saudi border to look for 3 Roman camps. So it's really exciting because the one we're heading to has never been photographed from the air before.
But first, we're going to have to find them from Michael Fradley's coordinates. Then, after an hour of flying across what looks like featureless wilderness, we spot some familiar outlines in the sand.
Yeah, hard round, hard round. Yeah, we've got it. Yeah, there it is. See it? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's perfect. get as close to it as possible. That's quite nice. They're a playing card shape. And what's very distinctive, and that's why I'm really excited to see this one, is to see what the nature of the entrances are. Because so that will help us definitely say that, look, that is clearly a Roman camp.
We immediately radio back to the squadron, asking for permission to land. It's granted, but a shortage of fuel and the long flight back to base limits us to 15 minutes on the ground. We become possibly the first people to set foot here in 2,000 years.
We've just got to keep our eyes peeled in case there's any archaeology here.
Yeah.
Bob believes that the position of the suspected camps is more evidence that these sites show Roman military activity.
There are 3 Roman camps, and the theory is that they started at Baia, which is an oasis, because you can't do anything without water.
No.
And the distance between Baia and the first camp is 23 miles, and they're exactly equidistant all the way along. So this is classic military. We're going to go in a straight line. Nothing is going to stop us.
23 miles is more than a day's march on foot, which is why Bob thinks these camps could be for a large detachment of Roman cavalry.
I mean, it does, because that looks kind of like an arrow straight line, so there's definitely something being planned.
Definitely. It's a planned expedition, and it's knowing the predictability of the military mind and the Roman mind. This shows there was clearly a military strength there.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy they're confirmed.
Yeah.
With time running out, the team makes a stunning discovery.
Faraz, what have you got something?
Whoa!
So what was it, 1 in a million chance of
Yes,
finding a
that's
bit
what
of
I said.
pottery? It's happening now.
That's what I said. Roman
Excuse
Nabataean.
me?
Yeah, there's loads of it. Wow, there's loads of it.
Tons!
This is remains of a print or something.
Yeah.
A little
there was a
handle
handle
for an
there, look.
Yeah, I've got a handle here.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
for
yeah.
a handle.
Yeah. Wow.
Here you go.
This is the eggshell.
And it is, it's Nabataean, isn't it?
Nabataean
Wow.
eggshell.
No question, even I know that.
So how can you tell that's Nabataean, not Roman?
Just from the nature of the pottery and the fineness of that.
Yeah.
The colour?
You would say, wouldn't you? And the colour too, yeah, the colour as well. Wouldn't you say, Faraz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Look, there's tons.
Wow. But so that's definitely, you see this painting?
Yes.
So that and the very fine stuff, that. Never thought we would find that.
And this is just exactly as the Romans left it. It's been untouched ever since,
That's just remarkable.
which is amazing.
That's remarkable. And what this little bit of Nabataean,
Yes.
what this little bit of Nabataean pottery is doing here. So does that mean they're auxiliaries fighting with them, or the Nabataeans have come in, or they're just...
Or they just brought Nabataean pottery,
Yeah.
you know?
But before we have a chance to investigate this possible Nabataean incursion further, we get the call from the pilot that our time is up.
So just before the chopper actually leaves, we just found a little bit with these really distinctive ridges on. So that tells us that's Roman period Nabataean. And now we're leaving everything that we found on site.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. Come on.
We leave the site, convinced that this was indeed a Roman military camp, and with evidence of Nabataean presence.
The Nabataeans were pragmatic and adaptable, and mainly interested in commercial advantage. So maybe they could see some benefits in being absorbed under the wing of the Romans. But also, you know, thinking of those new discoveries in the desert, of the Nabataean pottery inside the Roman camps, maybe that is evidence of a counterattack. Maybe it's the Nabataeans fighting back and dealing with the Roman incursion on their own terms.
Whether or not the Nabataeans fought back, there's clear evidence that the Romans deployed their military might inside the borders of the Nabataean kingdom, either before or after they took control. I'm heading back to the Nabataean city of Hegra, where I started my journey, to look for evidence of what happened to the Nabataeans after the Roman occupation. Roman Emperor Trajan took control in 106 CE, but the evidence here shows that Hegra, like Petra, continued to prosper under Roman rule. Many of the most ornate buildings and tombs in Nabataea were built after the takeover. And archaeologists have uncovered sophisticated artwork here that probably dates from the Roman era.
So I've just got to show you this. What you're looking at is a tiny fragment of a glass bead that was found right in the centre of the city at Hegra. Look at the decoration here.
Bit by bit, we're coming face to face with the Nabataean experience. They may have been subsumed into the Roman world, but the Nabataeans ensured their influence was still felt.
In the year 244 CE, a man of Arabian descent, known to contemporaries as Philip the Arab, got the top job in Rome and became Roman emperor. And in a brilliant example of cultural interconnectedness, one of the things that he did was establish a festival called the Actia Dushara Festival, with games that celebrated both the Roman victory over Queen Cleopatra of Egypt at the Battle of Actium and the Nabataeans' premier god, Dushara.
And what of the other men and women of the kingdom? The farmers and traders who lived here in the furthest corner of the Roman Empire.
People always ask what happened to the Nabataeans. Well, the answer is maybe they never left. They just reinvented themselves over the centuries, adapting to new rulers, to Romans, to Byzantines, to Arab kingdoms, always preserving their know-how, but finding new ways of working with new societies.
Evidence that backs up this story of continuity keeps emerging from the ground. In a Nabataean town, now called Al-Bada, on the Incense Road between the Red Sea, Hegra and Petra, a French and Saudi archaeological team is hard at work excavating the home of a prosperous merchant family. Initially, Guillaume Charlot and his team uncovered first-century Nabataean artifacts.
We have discovered a lot of pottery from the daily life, very simple cooking pots or these kinds of simple material that we find a bit everywhere. We have also found some very thin Nabataean pottery and Nabataean ware coming from Petra, and they are very well dated from the 1st century AD.
But soon, they found evidence that families were still living off this old Nabataean trade route centuries after the Romans took over.
We have many traces after the Nabataeans. In particular, this house that we have discovered has a second period of occupation during the Byzantine period, around 4th, 5th century AD, in particular during the early Islamic period.
So even if history's moved on, the people have stayed.
For too long, the Nabataeans have been a people who've turned up as footnotes in the story of other civilizations. But we should never forget that they had their own rich, inspiring, vital, relevant place in history. They helped to inspire our world. Rediscovering them is a reminder of the danger of forgetting entire cultures through time.
It's time to reassess the Nabataeans' role in history, to restore them to their rightful place as a key influence whose outlook on life can have resonance in the 21st century. Their belief in the value of women, liberty, and rule in consultation with the people.
The Nabataeans really engaged with the world on the front foot. They were in tune with nature. They developed a huge trading empire with a steely-eyed focus on commerce, and they were adept diplomats and political players.
And don't forget, they catalysed the development of Arabic. Nabataean inscriptions found right across this region are an essential bridge in the development of the written language used today by nearly 400 million people worldwide.
What the Nabataeans wanted more than anything else was prosperity and peace. And we know that from a single rare account of a Nabataean under attack right the way back in the 4th century BCE. I think it's one of the most moving witnesses from ancient history. We're told that this is what he said: "We beg you, do us no injury. Please accept gifts from us. Regard us Nabataeans as friends in the future, because we will never submit to your will. At the very most, all that you'll gain are a few reluctant slaves. We want to live as we want to live." What a thing to say. What a people. What a story.